Hey guys, want to show your support to the channel and get some awesome rewards at the same time? Then go check out my Patreon page where at whatever tier you choose that fits your budget, you'll get plenty of rewards such as updates and announcements on the regular, exclusive sneak peeks of my videos before they go up online, get yourself credited, and receive a special shout out at the end of my videos and more. Go to patreon.com/Ackleyattack4427TheThomasFan1 to start pledging today. And don't forget to check out and gift me any items I have listed on both of my wish lists on Amazon and Throne, supporting me on my paypal.me link, my Ko-fi page, and my Streamlabs tipping page, buying a personalized video message from me on Cameo, and buying any merch available on our TeePublic shop that'll also help support the channel directly. Links are in the description box below as well as on my link tree for you to check out. Thank you and enjoy today's video. Take care. Hey guys, like what we do on our channel and want to see more videos from us? Then not to worry about a thing. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as turning on the notification bell so that way you can see more of our videos coming up very soon. Thank you and enjoy today's video. Hey guys, this is Ackleyattack4427 here with a brand new thoughts video for all of you guys, and well, I guess we're already halfway through this month as we speak, and yeah, I guess pretty much for what it is, especially with, of course, launching my new payment platform that I had on standby for quite some time now, for sure, to which, by the way, thank you so much for tuning into those promo videos that I actually put up not too long ago. Yeah, definitely took a lot of time. I definitely need to get them off on my chest for sure, but they are currently on standby for sure, So yeah, but anyways, enough about that. I think it's time that I get myself in to talk about this latest movie for sure. So yeah. Well, quite fitting enough, I think it's been some time since I've actually delved into a little something in the horror genre for sure. So I think it makes sense to really actually get ourselves in with, of course, another one of these this time around for sure. So yeah, but that's at least what I can say, of course, that front for sure. So yeah, I think it is actually quite fitting enough now that I actually mentioned it. I've actually seen some horror movies that are some of the latest installments, and of course some well-known horror movie series for quite some time now that I finally got the chance to check out for sure. To even some original ones that came out in between as well that really blew me out of the water for sure. So yeah. So I guess for this case alone, I think I might as well dive into the former once again for sure. So yeah, I think it's actually quite interesting when you really think about it, hands down. I guess out of every single horror movie series I've actually finally delved into, of course, my part, I guess there's a lot, actually. Yeah, I did finally get myself in to talk about one of the Saw movies a few years ago, for sure. To even diving into, of course, last year, yeah, with, of course, one of the films in the Conjuring universe, for sure, and let's not forget to mention, I did finally delve into Evil Dead 28 Days Later, and that's just to name me a few from what I could gather. So yeah, quite a whole lot of horror movie franchises that I delved into over the years for sure, so yeah. But oddly enough, I never actually delved into, of course, this one in particular for sure. I guess until now, hands down, so yeah. So I guess for this case alone, for sure, in regards to today's movie, yeah, I think we're finally delving into one horror movie series that I never really delved into until now. That actually came out of course, a little realm called The Further. Yeah, and I guess the only way to get there is, of course, through a red door. But not this one because, well, it's not red for sure, so yeah. But I guess given to that hint alone, I think it will get you the idea on what movie we're talking about here today for sure. So yeah. So with that being said, I guess on that thought alone, I think we might as well dive into, of course, the latest movie that I actually got to see that actually came from The Further for sure. And that will correspond with today's movie I actually got to see today, which is none other than Insidious Out of the Further. So yeah, that is of course what we're going to be talking about here today. Not only is this the latest film that just came out not too long ago, but it's also the latest installment in, of course, oddly enough, one horror movie series that I finally delved into as of now, which is of course Insidious. So yeah, it's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alright then, well, I guess before going into today's movie we're going to be talking about, I think it makes sense to brush myself up on, of course, well, all of the Insidious movies that came around beforehand, and, well, I'm not gonna lie, I think based on my recent experience I actually had for sure, I never actually was actually a big fan of the Insidious movies for sure. I mean, to be fair, they're not bad flicks per se. I really do like some of the nice ideas that they actually decide to go for, hands down, for sure. And yeah, it really does actually have a bit of an interesting concept when you really think about it, for sure. Certainly far different from, of course, some other well-known horror movies that we actually know of for sure. And not to mention for the fact that, based on my knowledge alone, it is, of course, given to us by the people of Blumhouse Productions, which, yeah, oddly enough, I have actually delved into most of their films beforehand for sure. So yeah, and I know that's saying a whole lot because yeah, Insidious is, of course, one of many horror movie series from the early days of course, Blumhouse for sure, right alongside Paranormal Activity as, of course, one of them for sure. So yeah. And not to mention, seeing how I did mention pretty much Saw earlier for sure, it is actually quite fitting that I actually mentioned that, seeing how it's actually done by the creators of the Saw movie series themselves, Lee Winnell and James Wan, which I may have actually mentioned them before in, of course, most of my past thoughts videos for sure. So yeah, but as far as, of course, the Insidious movies as it goes for sure, again, I don't think they're bad flicks per se. I really do like on what they were going for, but I think they do lack, of course, anything that will make them all the more gripping and exciting, and by all means, absolutely scary for sure. So yeah. But yeah, like I said, I don't hate all of them for sure, nor can I say it's they're by all means great. I do think I'm kind of half and half with, of course, all these movies for sure. Yeah, I guess pretty much for what it is, I'll admit, I think if you were to ask me on which ones I think are probably the best ones in my opinion, honestly, I think it's probably a toss-up between either the first film or the third film, to be honest, for sure. So yeah, those are the two that I think are actually probably, I think, the ones that I could think of that I really do think are some of the best ones. While of course, the rest, on the other hand, like, of course, Chapter 2 and, of course, The Last Key and The Red Door, I'm kind of a mix on, of course, all those for sure. So yeah, but like I said, I don't hate them, to be honest, for sure. In fact, I think they couldn't compare to some other well-known horror movies that came out way earlier beforehand that I seem to enjoy more and more, hands down. But I really do like some of the ideas that they actually decide to go for, hands down, for sure, and yeah, maybe I think with much better execution, of course, on my part, I think they would have been absolutely fantastic for sure. So So yeah, but that's at least my opinion on all the Insidious movies beforehand for sure. So I guess give it to that thought alone. And when I heard the news that they were going to be doing another one of these for sure, I actually got myself quite curious and see on what direction they're going to go pretty much for this one compared to the last 5 movies that we actually got beforehand for sure. So yeah. But that's at least what I can say, of course, that front. So, of course, I managed to get myself in right at the last minute by the way to actually go and see this movie for myself. All thanks to everyone at Crown City Cinemas for letting me do that, as always. And yeah, no joke, around the time I got in, for sure, yeah, I think I did manage to get my ticket, and of course my popcorn and my water as expected for sure. But the line to get my concessions was so long, they were already starting to play the trailers beforehand for sure. But luckily, I did manage to get everything I need, licky splig for sure, and did manage to get myself in just in time before the trailers wrapped up for sure. Yeah, just in the nick of time before the movie started, so yeah, I guess I was in good hands all the way to see this, So yeah, no need to worry about a thing. I did manage to get in there just fine for sure. So yeah, but regardless of course that front, I did manage to get myself in to go and see this movie for myself. And well, now that I've officially got back from of course seeing it, I guess a lot of you guys may be wondering, what do I think of this one now that I finally got the chance to see it? Well, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I think this movie is above average, to say the least. Yeah, I think that's probably the best way I can actually say about this movie for sure. I actually don't hate this movie from what I can gather, but I can't necessarily say it's by all means great for sure. I definitely do think it's somehow a pretty decent flick, in my opinion, for sure. So yeah, I am just literally split down the middle, of course, this one for sure. I really don't think it's, by all means, great, but it's not terrible, either. I think it's decent for what it is, hands down, for sure. So yeah, it's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alright. Alrighty then, well, now that I actually got the short version out of the way, I guess I'll go ahead and talk about everything that I need to talk about for sure. For starters is, of course, the story, and well, I think from what I could gather, the story in this movie is actually structured out pretty decently for sure. Yeah, it actually pretty much wanted to keep up with the of course the themes and ideas the original movies actually have provided. But at the same time, they really want to go for something rather different for sure, and give off something really nice and unique ideas to really actually do something new and creative for of course this one. And I'll be honest, I think given to what I've actually seen by far, it is actually rather convincing from what I can gather, and with of course a good number of parts that they actually showed for sure. I was hooked on a little bit for sure, while at the same time, I do acknowledge that it wants to do the same thing the original movies actually did, which is actually fine for sure. Yeah, maybe I think some parts in it could have been fixed up a little bit to really try to really make it all the more gripping for sure. But at the same time, I actually don't mind, of course, what it's actually doing for sure, and yeah, with what they actually provide for sure, it really is actually quite nice for sure. So yeah, like I said, maybe with a much better execution, of course, my part, maybe I think it would have been absolutely really great for sure. But for what it is fine to say the least. I have nothing against the story, and of course this one for sure. So yeah, but that's at least what I can say, of course, that front. Now, as for the writing, I have to say, Well, I think I will admit that part I'm a little half and half on for sure. Yeah, there are parts in this movie where I do think the writing can be a little bit cluttered up from Viking a Gatherer for sure. But at the same time, they really did crafting out the writing, of course, this one rather decently for sure, and it really actually does seem like they really putting a lot of effort in, of course, what they're actually trying to do, and I was rather convinced with, of course, what they actually did, hands down, and yeah, I think it is actually something that yeah, maybe I think it could have used a little fine-tuning here and there, but again, I do applaud the effort and, of course, what it's actually trying to do for sure, so yeah. But that's at least what I can say, of course, that front for sure. So yeah, I guess in regards to the story and the writing for, of course, this film, yeah, I will admit, I am kind of half and half on, of course, this one, and I do think they could have used a little fix up, yeah, a little fixing up here and there to really actually make them great. But I really do like the nice and unique ideas that they actually did, hands down. Again, wanting to follow the footsteps of course, the original movies actually did, but actually change things up a bit and do something rather new and inventive at the same time, for sure. And yeah, I think some parts could have been fixed up a little more, but I really do think they really did a nice job regardless. So yeah. It's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alright, there we go. Alrighty then, well, now that I actually got those two out of the way, I guess I'll go ahead and talk about the next couple of things I need to talk about for sure, to which next up is, of course, the characters, and yeah, I will have to say by far, I think with what I've actually seen by far, the characters in, of course, this film, I think they are actually developed rather decently for sure. Like, of course, they're not bad characters for sure. But yeah, maybe I think they could have actually been done a whole lot better to really make them much more likable and interesting for sure. But given for the fact that it is a horror movie, hands down, of course I want to see them overcome, of course, what's actually confronting them for sure, and for, of course, a good chunk of course, this movie, I think they really did do a nice job for sure, but still, again, I think they could have done a whole lot more to really try to make them likable and interesting for sure, so yeah, but like I said, they're not bad characters, hands down. I do follow a good chunk of them regardless, hands down. In fact, some of which who have actually been part of these movies for a long time now, for sure. Really actually are convincing, and I do want to see more of them as the film goes on, for sure, so yeah, but that's at least what I can say, of course, that front for sure. Now, as for the actors that came on board to play all these characters, well, I will admit, if there's anything that I'm straightforward positive that I can say about this movie, I really do think the actors, yeah, all the actors that are, of course, part of this movie actually gave off some pretty good performances, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I'm not joking when I actually say I really do think they actually got in some really good actors on board to portray the characters quite well, and yeah, despite the material being a little decent at best to a little lackluster for sure, I really do buy their performances nonetheless, and I really do dig, of course, what they actually have going for hands down, and of course, it is actually all the more real to actually witness all of that for sure. So yeah. So I guess either way, I really do applaud all the actors in, of course, this movie to really give everything they got to really make this movie work quite well for sure. And yeah, for while they did try their best, hands down, I still bought their performances nonetheless, and yeah, like I said, I do think think it's done really good for sure, and I was actually really convinced, and I really did buy into their performances all the way, so yeah, that's at least what I can say, of course, that front. So yeah, I guess the characters have been developed rather decently from what I could gather. That kind of makes me want to root for them all the way. But I really do applaud all the actors on board with, of course, some really good performances that I really do think is actually quite nicely done. So yeah, it's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alright, I guess I'm done with that. Alrighty then, well, now that I actually got those two out of the way, what else is there for me to talk about? Well, quite a whole lot, actually, for sure, so yeah. And, of course, seeing how this movie actually does follow in the horror genre for sure, I should definitely talk about the couple of aspects that are next up for sure when it comes to horror movie, and that being, of course, the tone and atmosphere for sure, so yeah. I know that's saying a whole lot because given to the past horror movies I've actually talked about for sure, I know hands down that both the tone and atmosphere are definitely two of the best ones that I can actually say that are worthy enough for me to talk about for sure. So yeah, and I guess for the case of course, this movie for sure, well, I will have to say the tone and atmosphere, of course, this one, I do think it's alright from what I can gather. I mean, yeah, I think they definitely want to go for pretty much a whole supernatural route with, of course, this one, which, yeah, to be fair, we have seen all sorts of supernatural stuff in horror movies beforehand, for sure, some of which are actually done really great, for sure, and yeah, I think with what I've actually seen by far, I really do think they really do have a lot going for, and I really do admire, of course, what they actually have provided for sure. So yeah, but at the same time, though, from what I can gather, for a while, I do think a good number of the tone and atmosphere really is actually quite nicely done for sure, and really does match in well with, of course, on what the original films actually did beforehand. At the same time, though, for a while, I do think there are a good number of parts where, of course, it's bound to scare you for sure, right? Honestly, I think they could have done a whole lot more to really try to make it all the more scary for sure, especially seeing how that I know for the fact that this is not just any other horror movie, but a horror movie that has a PG-13 rating for sure, so yeah. And we do need to bear that in mind, hands down, for sure. Yeah, sometimes a horror movie with a PG-13 rating can be rather different than, let's say, a horror movie with a hard R rating for sure. So yeah. So I guess for this case alone, for sure, yeah, I guess given to that pretty much yeah, given to that restriction alone, for sure, of course, pretty much for a movie, for a horror movie with a PG-13 rating, of course you want to do some stuff hands down, like, of course, have pretty much all the intense stuff reduced down, even the blood and gory imagery, for sure, yeah, almost like showing little to none whatsoever, for sure, which I will admit is actually, yeah, I actually don't mind it for sure, so yeah, but I guess given to what I've actually seen by far, you still need to provide some really great scares for sure, if of course you if of course you want to frighten the audience that wants to see your movie for sure, and I guess for the sake of course, this movie alone, some parts of it, I actually am rather convinced and did get me frightened whenever I see it for sure. But at the same time, though, I just wish I think they might have actually, we might have actually seen it coming from like a mile a minute for sure, and I think they could have done a whole lot more to really actually try to make it all the more convincing and scary at the same time for sure. So yeah. So I guess given to all that alone, I really do think the tone and atmosphere, of course, this movie, I actually do think it's rather decent for sure, but at the same time, I think they could have pretty much fixed it up a little bit more to really try to make it all the more scary for sure. So yeah, but that's at least what I can say, of course, that front. Now, of course, for the next aspect that I should mention, the production design. Yeah, I will have to say right now, the production design for, of course, pretty much this movie, I really do think it's actually done pretty good for sure. I mean, okay, it's not really that outstanding from what I can gather, but I really do admire the pretty much the hardworking effort they actually did to really make this movie look good for sure. Not only with, of course, some really good location scouting and set designs that they actually put together for sure, but also the visuals and the effects, I'm not gonna lie, I really do think is actually very nicely done, and of course is rather convincing from what I can gather for sure. So yeah, so by seeing all that along with all the pretty much demons and ghouls and stuff that are bound to scare you for sure, I actually am rather convinced that they are actually really there for sure, and yeah, I really do admire what they actually did for sure. So yeah, so I guess given to all that alone, sure, yeah, I think despite the lack of scares for sure, they really actually are rather convincing from what I can gather to really actually try to make it to really make them look very scary. So that way, once we actually do see them on screen, we do start to get frightened. So yeah, so I guess pretty much of anything, I will say everything about the production design, of course, this movie, I really do think is actually a pretty much nicely done for sure, and I really do admire, of course, what they actually did hands down. So yeah, that's at least what I can say, of course, that front. Now, of course, the direction in this film from the film's director. Yeah, I think I will admit, sure, yeah, I think the film's director is pretty much not by all means, pretty much not by all means well known, but I really do think the direction in this film it's done fine from what I can gather. I mean, I do admire the hardworking effort the film's director actually did, but I think there could have been a little bit more effort to really try to make it all the more gripping for sure. So yeah, but that's at least what I can say, of course, that front for sure. Now, of course, for of course the next aspect of the cinematography, I will have to say, yeah, that alone, I really do think is actually done pretty good for sure, with some really good camera shots that I really do think are actually quite nicely done for sure, and I really do admire, of course, what they actually have going for hands down. So yeah, I will give the film credit that it is actually shot pretty good hands down, and I really do admire, of course, what they actually did hands down. So yeah, that's at least what I can say, of course, that front for sure. So yeah, and of course, the aiming, I have to say, well, I will admit, I really do think the film's aiming, I will have to say, it's done all right for sure. Like, of course, there are a good number of cuts, and of course, this one that I really do think work quite well, hands down. But a few others, I will have to say, I just kind of felt they could have trimmed some things up a little bit, hands down, and yeah, even some parts might have taken way too long to actually get to the actual scares for sure. Like, I'm actually watching this hands down for sure, and I was like, okay, you're already building up the suspense for quite long enough. So, where's the jump scare? I'm waiting. My God, where in the hell is that jump scare? What's taking it so long? Oh, Christ, there it is. So yeah, that alone, I really do think is probably the one major issue that I actually have with the film's A-ing, I have to say for sure. But yeah, like I said, there are parts in the film's A-ing that I really do think actually work quite well. But a few others where, of course, some parts of this movie might have taken way too long to get to the actual jump scare. I personally think they could have fixed that up a whole lot more for sure. Yeah, like of course, I think I might as well take that example again and see if I can trim it up a little bit to see what I mean for sure. Yeah, like of course, okay. I'm already starting to get the suspense right now, so hopefully that jump scare will come around anytime now. Anytime. Oh, Christ! So yeah, that works a whole lot better, so that way it will allow us to sink in the suspense a little bit for sure, and then poof, there it is right there. So yeah, I think if this film would have actually done that, then yeah, I think it would have worked a whole lot better in my opinion for sure. And again, that's saying a whole lot given to some of the past horror movies that I actually talked about beforehand for sure. Some of which are actually done a whole lot better. So yeah. But yeah, either way, I will say the A-ing, I have to say, is cut rather decently from what I can gather for sure. So yeah, and not to mention, it actually does match quite fine with the film's pacing, I will have to say. Yeah, to which, honestly, I think from what I can gather, there are parts in of course, of this one where, of course, it is pacing out quite nice for sure. But at the same time, though, I do felt parts in, of course, of this movie was a little bit too slow from what I can gather for sure. And I really do think they could have actually speed things up a little bit to really try to really get myself hooked in with, of course, what I've actually said earlier for sure. So yeah, but either way, that's just my personal opinion, of course, all that. So yeah, so I guess given to all those I've actually mentioned, I think it will get you the idea, of course, how I actually feel about this movie in a nutshell for sure. So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alrighty then, well, I guess with all that said and done, that's pretty much everything that I can say about this movie as a whole. So yeah, overall, yeah, I guess pretty much for what it is, I really don't think this movie is by all means great, but at the same time, it's not terrible either for sure. Yeah, I guess pretty much at the end of the day, Insidious Out of the Further, I really do think is, of course, a decent and yet fine movie for what it is, hands down, with some parts in it that I do think really could have used a little fine-tuning here and there for sure. But I really do applaud, of course, what it's actually going for with some nice and unique ideas that they actually did, while staying true to the roots of the original movie for sure. So yeah, I guess pretty much, if anything, for what it is, yeah, I do know for the fact that, yeah, like I said, some parts in, of course, of this one, I really do think could have actually been fixed up a little bit to really try to make it all the more scary for sure. But I can't fault it for what it is, hands down, because much like the previous movies that I talked about beforehand, I really do love the nice and unique ideas that the Insidious movies actually did for pretty much beforehand for sure. And I really do want to see all that explored upon, hands down. And yeah, maybe with a little fine-tuning here and there for sure, I think we would have gotten a really great horror movie series that I can actually get myself into all the ways. So yeah, but I guess either way, I think with what we actually got, especially of course this movie as a whole, yeah, I will have to say for what it is, Yeah, like I said, could have used a little fine-tuning here and there, but I can't say everything about this movie is by all means bad for sure. Again, parts, and of course, this one, hands down, I really do think are actually done really good, hands down, for sure. And yeah, I really do want to see, of course, what other direction they're going to go if, of course, these movies continue on, for sure. But I guess with of course what we actually got in, of course, this one, I do think it is fine for what it is. I can't fault it for what it's actually doing, for sure. But I do think it is actually pretty decent nonetheless. Is it by all means great? I guess not, but I imagine, I think any other horror movie fan for sure, let alone fans of course, these movies, would probably get into, of course, this one way more than I will, hands down. So yeah. And of course, if that's your cup of tea, hands down, then yeah, I say definitely check this movie out, for sure. You're probably not gonna get a whole lot with, of course, this one, but you are gonna get something that is rather decent, for sure. Well, I guess for my case alone, I do think it's fine, nonetheless. But there's no way that I would actually be opening up the red door to the further anytime soon, for sure. So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. I don't hate this movie for what it is, but I don't think it's that great either. I really do think it is actually a pretty decent movie nonetheless. And that's pretty much the best way I can actually put it, hands down. So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. So yeah, for my final score, yeah, I think I'm being fair, of course, on this one, and I'll give this movie a 6 out of 10 as my final score. Like I said, I don't hate this movie for what it is, but I can't say it's by all means great either, for sure. I'm kind of half and half, of course, this one, for sure. And like I said, if you can get into this and the other Insidious movies just fine, then by all means, more power to you, hands down, for sure. Not really my cup of tea. And I do prefer other horror movies that are done a whole lot better, for sure. But I guess this, alongside all the other ones, yeah, they're fine for what they are, hands down. And that's okay in my book. So yeah, it's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alright, whew. Alright, and I guess on that thought alone, hands down, yeah, that's pretty much everything that I can say about this movie as a whole. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this latest thoughts video, and by all means, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you guys. What do you think of Insidious Alga the Further, if you've actually seen it for yourself? Do you absolutely really enjoy it and think it's, by all means, a really great entry, and of course, all the other movies that came out beforehand? Or do you absolutely hate it and think it's just an absolute waste of time, for sure? Or are you like me and you're somewhere in between, of course, this one, where, of course, it's not great, not terrible, yeah, not terrible either, just fine for what it is, for sure. So yeah, let me know what you thought of this movie down in the comments down below. I'm quite curious to see on what you guys think. So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Thank you guys so much for watching this latest thoughts video, and well, now that we got that movie out of the way, for sure, yeah, I think we're getting closer to the end of August, hands down. So what can I do to really cap off of this month before September comes around, for sure? So yeah, wait a minute. I realized something. Next weekend, I guess in regards to the next movie I'm actually going to talk about, it might be one of my most anticipated ones. And I think you know exactly what I'm talking about, for sure. So yeah, I guess either way, now that we got that movie done for sure, looks like for next weekend for sure, I think we might as well get ourselves in with, of course, my next movie that I'm actually going to see, which is, of course, the long-awaited Coyote versus Acme. Yeah, I guess pretty much of anything. It's been a long time coming, and boy, I'm excited to talk about it for sure. So yeah, I know next weekend can't come anytime soon, but you know what? I have every right to be excited for, of course, this one for sure. So yeah, I guess I'm not alone. I know pretty much for what it is. I am definitely gonna have to review Coyote versus Acme coming up, so yeah, I know it's been a long time coming, but boy, I have every right to hands down. I will pretty much I will get out the popcorn for all this, and I know you will too. I will show you, of course, on how this movie is gonna pay off hands down, and well, I guess much like the movie itself, as long as, of course, my review, of course, of this one doesn't get canceled and pretty much gotten rid of for a tax write-off for sure, to which I highly doubt me or somebody else would step in and pull a Warner Brothers card in order to do that for sure. But I'm really looking forward to it, hands down. I can't wait to see on how that'll go for sure. So yeah. But I've already lingered long enough, hands down. So yeah, tune in next time where, of course, I'm finally going to be able to review Coyote versus Acme, hands down. But until then, thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, I'll not only see you in the next video, but I can't wait for this. So yeah. Next weekend is, of course, my long-awaited review on Coyote versus Acme. Be on the lookout for that. So yeah, take care. Special thanks to all of my supporters on Patreon for making today's video possible, including my top tier supporters for this month, VD and Sam Shepard. So if you want to be like these guys and show your support to us, then go to patreon.com/Ackleyattack44227 to pledge now, do so, and get some awesome rewards within your budget. Hey guys, this is Ackleyattack4427 here. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. Feel free to like, comment, and share if you enjoy what you're seeing. If you like what you see here and want to see more videos coming up, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button and switch on the notification bell to get notifications and select all notifications to be notified for when we post a new video. And don't forget to switch on notifications on your phone as well. Also, don't forget to check out my second channel and our 2-member channel with Sam the Thomas Fan 1, SamAttack4427TheThomasFan1 Productions for plenty more content you can't find on here. You can check both of our channels out with the links or by our handles provided on screen. Feel free to shoot me an email with my email address provided, backley95@hotmail.com, if you want to ask me a question, want to collab with me for a project you've got in the works, or if you want to book me to be featured for a convention coming up. Follow me on my social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to keep up to date with me on updates, announcements, and new releases of my videos, as well as plenty of others I've got with my handles provided, as well as the links down in the description box below. Also, don't forget to follow me on TikTok for other videos I've got aside from the ones I've posted on YouTube, and on Twitch for any future live streams I've got coming up soon, as well as join our official Discord server to see what we've provided. If you wish to show your support to me, then feel free to check out my Patreon to get sneak peeks of my videos coming up before they go up online, as well as getting access to updates and playing more in addition to getting some awesome rewards within your budget. Also, don't forget to check out and gift me any items I have listed on both of my wish lists on Amazon and Throne, supporting me on my PayPal.me link, my Ko-fi page, and my Streamlabs tipping page, buying a personalized video message from me on Cameo, and even buying some exclusive merch available on our TeePublic shop that you can find in the description box below and our other platforms available. And in case you can't find any of the links that are provided, then not to worry about a thing. All the links and stuff are also provided on my link tree that you can also find in the description box below, as well as a few selected number of my social media pages. Other than that, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll be sure to see you in the next video. Take care.